take us to your the moment that may have changed the trajectory of your life. This was several years ago, but take us to the ski slopes, please.
Sure. So I was on my way to the mountain and I was in eighth grade. We got released a little bit early, which is always something exciting when you're that age, when you're in eighth grade, 14 years old. It's always exciting when you get to miss a little bit of school. So we are on our way to the mountain, and my friends and I had all brought our snowboard gear onto the bus so we could get ready so we wouldn't miss precious moment once we got to the mountain. And getting ready, I noticed that I forgot one thing that I usually brought when I went to that mountain, and that was my helmet. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought I'd be careful. Nothing ever happened, so I'd be okay. Got to the mountain, and we had a right for the chairlift where the rest of the class went inside and wasted time to get ready. We were all ready to go. So we had a right for the chairlift. And on the way up, Mark, we noticed that it was very icy because it had been raining. So people were wiping out everywhere.
Mm.
The chairlift went right over the train park where all of the jumps were. And I knew as soon as I saw it that I had to go off the biggest jump in the train park. So got to the top, buckled into my snowboard, took a breath of that crisp winter air, and confidently charged towards that jump with all my speed. Going up to the jump, I caught the edge of my snowboard, and that's the last thing that I remember. So I was told that I landed on my head and
Mm.
I wasn't wearing a helmet. There were several contributing factors that enables me to be able to tell this story today. The first being that even though I wasn't wearing a helmet, I was wearing a pair of goggles
Mm.
with a lot of padding. So those goggles not only braced my impact initially, as I continued to roll down the mountain and continued to hit my head, with each impact, they moved mysteriously or not so mysteriously. I believe it was definitely divine intervention, and everything happens for a reason. So that was the first thing. The second being they wanted to bring a helicopter to the mountain to rush me to the hospital because of the severity of my injuries. They couldn't, Mark, because it was too windy. So they
Mm.
had to send in an ambulance and a team of paramedics. Out of all the paramedics in the county, there was only one who could intubate right on the spot. And I needed that to be able to breathe. He was one of the paramedics that showed up to the mountain that day. There's still several things that I can't explain because of the accident, and now I know if part of the reason is that I'm here today to tell this story. So, finally, the third thing, when I got to the hospital and I was resting in a I was out. I was totally unconscious in the intensive care unit, and the doctor said that I would have been out for 7 or 10 days based on the impact alone, and I already had swelling in my brain. So they were worried that if I woke up and panicked, the swelling would increase and I would have died.
Mm.
So they had to put me into a partially induced coma so that my body could heal. So resting in the ICU, the only people that could see me were my parents. And they were in the room, and the doctors, no fault of their own. This is the third thing. They came into my room to share the progress updates with my parents. And as you can imagine, the not so positive news, not so positive news, not so positive news,
Yeah.
especially at the beginning, and right in front of me, they were just doing their job. It wasn't any fault of their own. And they started to talk and tell my parents, and my mom stopped them. She said, no, no, not in front of him, because she understood that even though I was in a coma, I was still taking
Mm.
in information.
Yeah. Good for her.
But she made the doctors step outside the room. And once they were outside the room, they explained that I'd been in a snowboarding accident and I was in a coma, partially induced coma. They weren't sure how long I was going to be. And even if I came out, there was a good chance that I probably wasn't going to be able to walk, talk, or eat on my own ever again.
Mm.
And because none of this influenced me, whether it's subconsciously or unconsciously, didn't get through to me, because remember, my mom made them step outside the room. I just treated it like any other situation. So I was in a coma for 3 weeks. I really don't remember a month. And a month after my accident, I was transported to a rehab hospital in Boston. That's where I started my journey.